right. Hello, everyone. I'm Julian, and this is the Inside Scoop podcast. With me today is the head coach for Hill Murray girls hockey, John Pohl. That's how you pronounce your last name, right?
Yes, you got it.
Okay, just making sure. Well, welcome into the studio. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, for starters, talk to me a little bit about your hockey coaching career.
I've kind of been involved in coaching for a long time at different levels and different type of things. Started working camps and stuff. Actually, even in high school, growing up in Red Wing, and then through college, I did a lot of camp work, mostly with Pro Edge Power. And then once I got done playing, I actually continued to kind of run camps while I was still playing. And then once I got done playing, I was teaching at Cretin-Derham Hall and got asked to coach the girls hockey team, and something I had never really thought of. And but being the dad of daughters, I was like, well, it's going to kind of be a glimpse into the future. And so coached the girls at Cretin-Derham Hall for 5 years. And then last year was our first year coaching here at Hill Murray. And then basically for, I'd say, the last 10 years, probably, we've been involved in some type of youth hockey coaching, whether it was running camps or coaching. Our kids played Woodbury youth hockey. So we coached in the Woodbury youth, U8, U6, U8, U10, U12. Pretty much have almost coached at every level now of girls. So it's been pretty crazy.
That's cool. I didn't know you used to coach at Cretin. I live like 2 blocks from there. I did not go there. However, I went to Highland. I went to Highland Park, but
nice. I have good school.
Yeah, it's a pretty good school. I don't know. I didn't mind it. I graduated in 2019.
Nice.
That's
Mr. Oren. Did you have Mr. Oren?
He was. Well, I had him as a gym teacher when I was in middle school, and then he became our AD. Like I think my freshman year or maybe 8th grade year. So I know he was. So I want to say he coaches the hockey team.
He's AD now, but yeah, he has been a coach, and I got to know his family a little bit and taught some of his kids. He's a really nice man.
Okay. Yeah, he's nice. I actually, I don't know if you remember the area, but I ran into him at Shamrocks, the restaurant down on West 7th. And, this was like a few months ago, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but
that's cool.
That's super cool. Well, now heading into now this will be your second season as the Hill Murray girls head coach. What's something you look forward to for the upcoming season?
I think just spending time with the girls. We have a really nice group of girls. They're incredibly motivated. They're good hockey players, great kids. Just being able to go to the rink with them every day and watch them try to get better and watch them compete in practice to make each other better is really fun. See them grow and then obviously compete in games. But I do think we have a special thing going where people like to be a part of the program, and the girls really do have fun and get along and hopefully grow as young people together. So I'm just really looking forward to spending, the next 15, 16 weeks with them.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of everyday interactions and a lot of hard work, but I think spending time with them and, building relationships is really important. And, to get into that, I mean, I think it's important. And sorry, I apologize. We just got a puppy.
No worries.
He's whining. I'm sorry. He was really good, and then of course he hears me talking. So my apologies for that. I didn't want you thinking there's something weird going on.
Oh, good.
So that's that. Well, I know you guys made it pretty far. I mean, reaching the state championship last year, very impressive. I think, especially as a first-year head coach. I'm wondering, you made it there last year. What's something you wish you would have done differently? Because I know the outcome maybe wasn't really what you were going for.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't really know if there's anything we would do differently. I mean, we had a really nice group of girls. They were selfless. They played well as a team. Pretty much got as far as you can possibly get. Just couldn't win the last period. But, really, I don't really have any regrets or things that I would change. Like we got beat in the last game by a really, really good team that played a really good game and deserved to win. It was a great high school season. And I guess if there was one thing I would change, it'd be play a better third period in the state championship game. But that's getting pretty picky for that to be the thing you want to change.
Well, I get it. That's good enough for me. We'll go with that. And then with that, I mean, heading into this year, like, how do you plan to move forward and like keep winning games and reach big moments like the state championship with the loss of key players, including one of the state's best goalies in Grace Zahn?
Yeah, I mean, our goal is the same every year, and it's just to have a transformational program and to give the kids an experience that they're going to remember for a long time. It's cliche to say this, but we really aren't focused on results. It's more so coming to the rink every day and being
Mm.
grateful to be around great players and motivated, selfless kids who want to be a part of something special. So as long as the kids are working hard and having fun, we truly do believe that the rest of the things will just take care of themselves.
Okay. I don't think that's too cliche. I think oh my goodness, it's important to just go out there and play your game, and I totally like that. Now I'm curious, what does a daily routine like for you during the hockey season like look like? I don't know if you're a teacher or if you just coach, but what does like like your 7 to like 9 during
Yeah,
the day, what does that
yeah.
look like?
So I'm actually the activities director here at school. So I oversee a lot of sports. I don't oversee girls hockey because I'm coaching. But for me, I come to school every day at 7:30, 7:40. Usually, depending on the season, I have to get things ready for an event we're hosting, whether it's a game or something. I got to make sure the buses are all set, officials are set, game workers are set, and then do a lot of scheduling. So, I mean, I just kind of come and do my job, and then I usually leave about, I don't know, if it's a game day, I would leave after school, go home, and I might actually run one of my younger daughter's practices, and then go to the game and watch the kids have fun, come home, go to sleep, and do it again the next day.
Okay, so just a simple, you're just doing all that stuff on repeat Monday through
Yes.
Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Now I'm curious, what would you say like I know I kind of threw this in last minute, but like what would you say your core values are as a head coach?
I think just treating kids with respect and letting the kids, hopefully showing the kids that you care about them and you want them to succeed. Uh, the girls' high school hockey and for high school sports is a long season, and if the kids know that their coaches care about them,
Hmm.
it'll be a positive experience. You're not going to win every game. You might not get all the playing time you want or in the role, but hopefully the kids know that coaches care about them and do want them and the team to be successful.
I think it's important to like be realistic with them, and they might not you know play all the time, and they might not perform as well as they want to every game, but I really like that actually. Um, Now I'm curious, like, what would you say the biggest challenge of being a head coach? Like, what would that challenge look like? I would say that like players or fans, parents, whomever, like, might not really realize like that's actually maybe like difficult about the role.
I can just speak for myself. For me, the toughest part about being a head coach is that just on a personal level, there's always going to be a little disappointment. Not everyone, like we have tryouts this week and you have to deliver bad news to kids that you care about who work really hard and try and can't end up on the team they want or in the role they want. So I'd say that's the toughest part is just having to deliver bad news or disappointing news to kids.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be hard. I'm curious how many like girls try out like in total, 'cause I know I mean, there's like JV and varsity. I don't know if you guys have like a ninth grade team, but like in total, like how many girls are trying out? And
Yeah.
then, I guess a follow up with that, I'm curious, like, is it in the like maybe in the past, but like, is it common to see players like, maybe let's just say they were like on the varsity team as a sophomore, but then like something maybe happened and they're not making the varsity team as a junior. Like, does that stuff ever come up?
Well, first part of your question, I'd say we usually get somewhere between about 35 and 45 kids that try out. Um, Most years we are able to keep all the high school kids or even maybe all the kids that try out and don't have to make any cuts, which is great if that happens. We just have JV and varsity, and it's pretty uncommon for a kid. to go from varsity to JV. It can happen, unfortunately, but it's pretty uncommon.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I had a buddy in high school who like was probably our best like this is basketball, but like he was our best basketball player as a junior. And then as a senior, like unfortunately he took a step back and like didn't
Yeah.
make the starting lineup, and I think later on like ended up quitting, and stuff happens. I understand. I just wasn't sure like how common that was.
Mhm.
But that's good it's not common. You're really not trying to take a step back. Well, now what would you say your favorite part is about being a head coach?
I think just seeing the kids happy and seeing them succeed. We got really lucky to win a few big games last year that really meant a lot to our kids. We won the section championship game to go to state. We won 2 games at the state tournament, and it's cool when you get to see kids who really put in a lot of work and put in a lot of effort. When you see them rewarded and you see them all joyous and happy for each other, that's the best part by far.
Okay. That's good. I think, I mean, I'd almost imagine like, I understand you have kids of your own, but in some ways, I mean, I see that I mean, they might look up to you in some ways. I don't want to go too far, but like maybe as like a father figure, or like, to you, I'm not going to sit here and say they're like your kids, but,
Hmm.
I mean, in other ways, maybe some people might view it like that, or but it's, people that are really important to you, and, you want what's best for them. Well, I guess for like going into the topic of not necessarily like father figures, but maybe people you look up to. Like, is there a coach around the metro or even the state of Minnesota, boys or girls hockey, that like you really like idolize, or maybe even like look up to, or just have like a ton of respect for?
Um, I mean, I got really lucky when I was in high school. I played for a high school boys coach named George Nemenich. He was a phenomenal coach. He was a teacher at our school. He eventually became principal and became a school administrator, but he was just a fantastic high school coach. He made hockey fun. He cared about us as kids. He never took it too seriously. He was awesome. And then when I worked at Cretan, I got to be around Jim O'Neill a little bit, and Jimmy has been a long time baseball coach and hockey coach, and just seeing his demeanor and the way he treated the kids and how great of a perspective he had on high school sports um, was really cool. So I got lucky to experience it as an athlete and then experience it as a coworker as well.
Okay. I apologies. I can't. I don't know if I'll be able to pronounce the first coach's name. Is he still coaching?
No, so Mr. Nemenich, he probably coached for 20 years in Red Wing. He did a phenomenal job. And then he became a principal, and he was probably a principal for 15 or 20 years. And he's retired now and out of coaching and hopefully living a good life.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what you want to do, right? You do that for a
Yeah.
while, and then
Yeah.
you just relax and enjoy. Well, a couple more questions for you, Coach. What would you say is the best piece of advice that you have for youth and high school players around the state that are trying to make it to the next level?
Just enjoy it. I think too many people get caught up on, advancing to the next level and not really appreciating and enjoying where they are. You can't get to the next level if you don't do well at the level you're at. So maybe just focusing more on what they have in front of them on the current day, and enjoying that, and knowing that once it's done, and you're never going to get that back. So just enjoying where they're at, and then whatever's going to happen in the future will happen.
Okay, I like that a lot. I'm hoping, I don't know how many boys hockey players we have, but I'm hoping they'll take that into consideration, considering all the boys players around the state who will leave high school and go play juniors early, or trying to play in a different league early. I think
Yeah.
a lot of them, this is me being a little biased, especially like just Minnesota high school hockey, just how big it is here. But I really wish like every player like got to play, all 4 years through high school, that didn't have to worry about juniors or college until after, instead of leaving early. Because I think like the big stage is like some things that are really awesome for them. Whether it's making the state tournament or making a big section final game. And then my final question for you here. Where do you see girls high school hockey, and even college and professional women's hockey, in the next 5 years?
That's a good question. Sadly, I think the girls' game isn't necessarily headed in the right direction. If you look at high school, at least, you look at the numbers of girls playing seems to be going down. The numbers of pretty big metropolitan schools that are in co-ops, the number of schools co-oping also seems to be on the rise. The number of teams seems to be going down. So I don't know what the future really holds. Hopefully, we can get more girls playing. The level of play has gone up every year, and the girls keep getting better and better. And if you watch, a state tournament game this year, it'll look 10 times better than a state tournament game, 10 or 15 years ago. So the girls' game keeps getting better, but the number of teams kind of seems to be dipping, and the number of players seems to be dipping. So hopefully we can find more players and get more people involved. But yeah, it's and I hope colleges, we have kids here at our school that are going to go off and play in college, and I know a lot of Minnesota kids want to play in college. So hopefully colleges can keep offering women's hockey, and maybe even some schools that don't have it in the future can offer it. But we're going to need more players and need more teams for that to happen
Yeah,
at the high school level.
yeah. I see. I wasn't really aware that like the numbers were going down. I mean, I assumed. I mean, I know like there's a lot of teams that have co-ops. I mean, it seems to me almost like if you're not like some of the real premier programs around the state, it's really difficult to like have your own team. That's just my perspective of it. What do you think? You like maybe what would you change to encourage girls who are not necessarily playing, organized hockey at the high school
Mhm.
level to try out and, actually go out and play?
That's a great question. Hockey's a tough sport because it is really, really, really difficult to start. I mean, even third or fourth grade is almost late to get started into hockey. So that's a great question. I think the other thing that's tough is, some kids start really young and they get really good, and that gap between the top and the bottom just continues to grow. And then, those kids at the top feel like if they want to continue to grow and continue to get opportunities for them in the future, that they have to play with the best players and be pushed and do that. Hockey's a little different in that respect, maybe than a basketball or some sports. Hockey, if you put Wayne Gretzky on the ice on a Squirt C team, it's going to be hard for Wayne to get better, and he eventually potentially could lose interest. And so just that it seems like it's the top players at an earlier age just seem to they want to keep growing, and they end up kind of ending up in the same areas, which is not great. And the talent pool is just not deep enough in girls. We just don't have enough players playing. So if we really want it to work, it's going to have to start with the 5 and 6 year olds, and to make it really fun for them. But we need high level coaches to do that. And unfortunately, there's just not as many on the girl side as there are on the boy side. Almost every guy who played at some point, his boy will play, but that's not always the case on the girl side. So it's really an issue more so at the very, very beginner level, because we got to get them in and get them going, 5, 6, 7 years old, because by the time you're 12, 13, you're really facing an uphill battle in hockey. It's a really tough sport to pick up at a late age.
Yeah, I believe it. I know, like, there's been stories of like people playing like football or basketball, like starting at a later age, and they
Yeah.
end up being really good. But yeah, I've heard that for hockey. It's like if you're gonna do it and you want to be good, you really have to start at a young age. And then also to reiterate what you said earlier, I think it is difficult to find really good quality coaches coaching kids who are 5 and 6 years old. A lot of them just are going to be coaching higher levels, more reputable programs and teams. So I totally get that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think one of the other things too is, and this is not specific to girls. I think this is all hockey. Um, at those younger ages, when you look at like the U10s or the squirts, even into peewees and 12s, so many parents and people get focused on winning and their ranking, and we lose sight of, trying to keep it fun and develop their skills. Unfortunately, too many people play to win instead of playing to play and playing to develop. So I do think that's a problem, that this win at all costs that starts at a really young age actually in the long run is really hurting the game and is hurting the number of players that are at the higher levels for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's all about the winning culture and who can win the most games and win the championship. I feel like I have this is my second year now working with like Live Barn and Minnesota Hockey TV, and I've learned that like some of the parents especially like get really really into the game, and sometimes like if they're losing or something's not going their way, like they get really negative. And I feel like there's so much pressure on the athletes, and that's actually something I like to ask a lot of athletes, whether they're in high school or college, is like, how do you move forward with mental health and the pressure? Because like for me, I'm not a competitive person, but like I think there'd be so much pressure to win if I'm having coaches, parents, fans, friends and family, and just whoever with eyes on me, expecting me to do well. I think that'd be like really difficult for me. So I think it's really impressive that like athletes can somehow like override that and
Yeah, I
perform.
think I think even more so like in hockey, the if you're playing to win, especially at a young age, the way the kids play is just different. They're much more likely to just dump the puck in and get it out of their zone, slap it at the other team's net, instead of skating the puck and trying to be creative and learning to make plays with the puck on their stick. Because they might turn it over and it might go the other way and the team might score, which is totally fine. The teams we coached when the kids were young, if they were going to make a mistake and we were going to give up a goal, that's totally fine as long as they tried something and were creative and took a risk. It's very easy to teach kids a system or to teach them how to dump the puck, but it takes a lifetime or 10 to 12 years to really learn how to carry the puck and to make offensive creative plays. And it's tough to find people that can buy into that, knowing that you're not going to win every game because of it, or maybe you're not even going to play as many, organized games. It's a different train of thought, but it's one that we've really bought into and we've lived it with our coaching.
Yeah, well, I love all that you have to say, and I think I'm going to cut it right there.
Great.
Thank you, Coach, for coming on. I appreciate your time, and
You bet.
good luck to you this season.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.